Mike, I was encouraged with Penn State. It was a good win against Iowa.
I think a lot of people were.
13-3, but defense played great. Let's start there. Tom Bradley always seems to have these guys ready. What stood on the defensive side for you?
Well, what stood out for me defensively was this was an Iowa team that this Vandenberg kid was quarterback, supposedly the best pure passer in the Big Ten. They've been averaging 280 yards passing a game. Penn State was playing without probably their best cornerback, DeAnton Lynn, and another kid who started a lot at cornerback, Stephon Morris, and they did a great job. He had 160-some yards passing. They shut down this really good receiver for Iowa. I think it's remarkable the job that Penn State has been able to do to absorb the injury to Maudie, who was maybe their best football player on the whole team, and also these having a beat-up secondary and going into this game and do what they did. So that impressed me a lot on the defensive side.
Stupar steps in at linebacker. He's got a huge motor.
He's really been pretty good. He's really been good.
Secondary, you got that young freshman, Amos, what's this guy's
name?
name?
Adrian Amos, who is like you said, a true freshman and was not a super blue-chip recruit, but he really has stepped in and can really play. And they blitzed a lot on Saturday, too, which they don't normally do. Much more than they normally do. It was very, very effective.
What I like about Adrian Amos is he might only have been a 3-star, but he's just sort of like the old Brady Bunch episode with Greg Brady and Johnny Bravo. He fits the jacket. You put him in that uniform, he looks good. He looks like a cornerback. He's a big guy, looks good.
I know that Adrian Amos, among his major influences, Johnny Bravo and the Brady Bunch. Yeah. That's what I hear. Anyway.
You know what I also heard and saw was an offensive line that somehow came together within 1 week's time, because these guys look like horrible the first 4 weeks of the season.
Yeah, they weren't very good on the run. Run blocking 2 weeks ago, they weren't very good at all. But last week they did it. Iowa is not what they normally are defensively, not even close. They produced a lot of their front seven has produced a lot of pros in the last 2-3 years, and that's gone right now. That's gone. But they did, and interestingly, at media day this year, Joe said that this group of offensive linemen, better athletes, without question, better athletes than the last real good line they had with A.Q. Shipley and Ornberger and that group. And they're also pretty experienced. I mean, it's not they're not playing a bunch of freshmen in the offensive line. It's mostly kids that have been there 4 years, in some cases 5 years. So I think they're going to get better. I think they're figuring it out. I think the offensive lines take time. We wish that they could, if you're a Penn State fan, you wish they could turn over offensive lines faster than they do. They can't, as long-time evidence has proven. But I think it's starting to, I just think they're starting to get better. It's simple.
It's funny, in certain positions where Penn State does very well all the time. Linebacker, linebacker, defensive line has been great.
It's about position groups. It really
Secondary has been good. But offensively, the line takes 4 years to gel for these guys. They need 4 or 5 years, and they have one. And quarterback is another one and the quarterback play this week again was
that's the other thing about this.
Bad.
I mean, they beat Iowa not handily, but comfortably, and the quarterbacks were awful. I thought they were awful. Rob Bolden in particular was just horrendous. He made some unbelievably bad throws that he got bouncing it off a referee's foot. That was one of the most amazing football plays I think I've ever seen.
Pure skill.
Unbelievable. But and we just got off the phone with Joe's teleconference, and apparently the basic approach to the quarterback position is not going to change. They're going to continue to play 2 guys, and I just think that's dysfunctional. I think that has I don't know what's going to happen that will indicate to Joe that that's wrong. I mean, I think the evidence is now there's a preponderance of the evidence. It's overwhelming, but it ain't changing anytime soon.
And McGloin looked a little bit better, but then again, he forced one in the end zone for an interception. I also thought another time if he couldn't have run in for a touchdown, he could have at least got him a first down by getting closer. And he forced a throw, and it got knocked down, and they wound up settling for 3.
He made some throws, and he made some horrible plays. I still think he's outplayed Bolden, but boy, I mean, they're not getting what they are going to need to beat anybody really good at that position.
What about this week with Purdue? Is this a team that we should be worried about as far as beating somebody that's good, and what are you looking for with the Boilermakers?
Purdue has a lot coming back. I think they're probably a little bit better than the record indicates because they were beat up early in the year. If Penn State has a letdown, which is possible because I think they kind of put a lot into last week, this is not going to be easy. It's hard to imagine anything being easy for Penn State because they kind of have to gum people to death.
It's homecoming. They can't take it lightly.
You wouldn't think.
Gum them to death. Good, I like that.